the Possibility Playground. But it was Main Street that was synonymous with the essence of Wickford, postcard-worthy in every aspect. Both sides of the street were lined with old colonial houses proudly displaying date plaques like a badge of honor. Most of these were now homes, but governed by strict painting and display guidelines, historic in every sense. Ye Old Narragansett Bank would be etched in a hand-carved wooden sign with a date plaque reading 1750. Other houses belonged to famous poets, congressmen, and so forth. American flags would hang at just the right angle as if announcing the throughway, guiding guests on a trip back in time to a truly unique destination, the town dock. It was here where boisterous characters reminded little Jimmy of Scuttle the Mouse and the band of dangerous wharf rats he encountered. Like Knights of the Round Table, Jimmy and Dave would ride, always on the sidewalk and usually getting yelled at by some snobby lifers or Wickfordites as they would be known. These lifetime inhabitants never liked anyone or anything mucking around with their sanctuary. But they were quick on their feet, and they had to be. They would jump out of the way in terror as the bikes approached, fishing rods extended through the handlebars like young warriors jousting for a princess. The boys didn't care at all, and why should they? Fishing was on their mind. That sense of excitement as that red and white bobber goes under for the first time trumps all. As they made the last few pedals before entering the dock, they looked at each other and took a deep breath. In they went, into the land of wharf rats. The town dock was a mix of three types of men: quahoggers, or clammers to everyone else outside of New England, lobstermen, and fishermen. You would think that three distinct brethren of the sea would be bound by some brotherhood and or code. To their defense, they probably were. However, that didn't stop them from getting into fights, yelling, swearing, and throwing pots and buoys around like grenades. The quahoggers were like the Neanderthals of the wharf. To Dave and Jimmy, they were gargantuan beings and usually hairy as hell. Their weapons were long poles with a clawed basket at one end. These bull rakes provided muscles where there shouldn't be any. The lobstermen were shorter in stature, but still tenacious and not one to back down from the larger and louder quahoggers. Lastly, the fishermen were more refined, if there was such a thing in that setting. Being of a more slender build, they would usually side with whomever they thought was right in any given situation. It was a recipe for chaos, but Jimmy was determined to get through these creatures and their world record F-bombs, because on the other side was the promised land. The uncomfortable wooden planks of the dock from which they would sit down and cast their lines. And when they did, the loud swears and chaos would always subside. Some days the bobber would dance with its rapid movement, and others it would lay still as an August low tide. Regardless, there was always one universal constant: conversation. Those innocent exchanges escape me now, carried away by time and adrift on the breeze of what was. But back then it was uncorrupted by age and full of wonder. For Jimmy and Dave, there was always one more tradition to cap off their town dock escape: the corner store. This was the mecca of all things sweet and yummy, a wonderland of tasty treats which could be purchased for next to nothing, a handful of change kept neatly in a baggie, safely secured at the bottom of a backpack. They leaned their bikes and jousting lances up against the old stone wall. In they went, the clang of a bell on the door announcing their arrival. Like a pack of wolves, they circled their target, salivating, eyeing, and intimidating the unsuspecting prey. They lunged in unison without hesitation, knowing precisely the prize. Dave honed in on the plunder, lured by its perfect golden hue. Inside of it, a trove of white, creamy filling. Yes, the one and only Twinkie. Jimmy goes for the honey bun, a sweet cinnamon experience worth every penny, of which many soon fill the countertop, much to the chagrin of the store clerk. They exited the store and walk a few hundred feet to the Hussey Bridge, which marked the entrance in and out of Wickford. There they began the ceremonious unwrapping of their treasure, while staring out at the harbor through the green metal railings of the bridge. As they grew older, they would jump off that bridge and into the water below, earning another badge of courage on the Boy Scout sash of life. But for now, they were content savoring their plunder and saving some strength for the venture back home. The return trip had a major hill to pedal up with their small legs, but the reward was oh so sweet at 92 Prospect Avenue.